Have you ever dreamed of launching an online fitness or wellness program, but have felt completely overwhelmed on where to start? Maybe you already have people coming to you asking for support and help, but the idea of planning an entire program and putting that together seems near impossible. What if I told you that it doesn't have to be that hard? In this episode, I'm going to break it down for you. 3 easy steps to get your fitness or wellness online program up and ready to go very, very quickly and easily so that you can start generating that income right away. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Erica Boling, and if you are a fitness, a wellness, a healthcare, or an adventure professional looking to grow your online business so that you can have the freedom and flexibility to live life on your terms, this is the place for you to be. So excited to have you here today. Let me give an example of how easy it can be to get started. All you need is your first online client and you need some content. What is it you're going to offer them to kick things off? And I'm going to give you a great example from my own online business, how it all started. Basically, I was offering some fitness instruction, some fitness program, doing it was actually an in-person workshop. And I had people who weren't able to attend. And I had it was an acquaintance, not a friend. She messaged me, sent me an email. She said, "Oh, I'm so bummed I wasn't able to join you at that workshop last weekend. I just live too far away." And I said, "You know what? That's not a problem. How about if I take some of the kind of most informative information that we did over that weekend? How about if I just record it for you? And I'll do 4 recordings and I will shoot them over to you via YouTube over the next month." And she was like, "Sure, yes, I'm super excited." And I charged her $97 basically to create 4 videos. I recorded a video and I worked on the next one over the next week or so. I shot that video over. Then I gave her some things to work on, recorded another video and sent that over. And it was basically a series of 4 videos. I think they were about 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes long. And I just uploaded it to YouTube with an unlisted link and I just sent it over to her. Now, that was how it all started. I had my first client, I had my first online course, and that content that I created for her was the beginnings of what ultimately became a much bigger online foundations fitness course. So it really doesn't have to be that complex. Have somebody interested in what you have to offer, and you put something together for them. Now, let me walk you through, because a lot of people be thinking, oh my gosh, well, that sounds really simple, but what do I do in that video? How do I go about and get that over and record it? How do I make that valuable and useful? And then what if I'm going to do one-on-one? So let me go and give you 3 more detailed steps to kind of walk you through that exact process to actually make this happen. Again, it doesn't have to be super overwhelming. It can be that simple to get started. So step number 1 is just start with simple content, bite-sized, smaller bits of information. Most people, I would say really everybody I know when they first go and try to move online and create online programs, is they make them these monster programs, these monster courses. They're way too big, way too overwhelming, and it takes them forever if possibly they never get it off the ground. So I would say the best way to approach it to get started is just pick a problem, one problem that a person is coming to you, they need help solving, and keep it a narrow topic. So let me give you a nutritional example. So maybe a person comes and they're like, I just don't have any energy. I know I'm not eating well. I need help in how to get more energy and what are some good foods that I can eat, healthy foods, maybe lower in calories, but they're going to give me a lot of energy. Okay. Let me give you another example. I want to get more toned and my upper body strength, but more specifically, how can I make my upper body and my arms look nicer and kind of improve the look and also the strength of my triceps? That's a nice self-defined, narrow topic that you could easily do in a couple videos. Let me give you one more example. So maybe a person comes to you and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Erica, I know I need to exercise. I know the things I need to do. My problem is I just can't motivate myself. I need help getting out, getting things done. I need accountability." Okay. So there we go. One problem. I'm struggling with motivation. I need accountability. I need help with motivation. That can be the focus of your first course. So the next step to creating that online program quickly and easily is you have to define and create the content for your online lessons. So let's say we're going to go with 4 video lessons and we're going to pre-record them. So the next thing that I would say for you to think about is, what is it that that client needs to be able to know? What do they need to be able to do? And how do you want them to be thinking and feeling about whatever it is you're teaching? Okay. So know is the knowledge. What information will you be giving them? There's going to be probably some kind of educational component there. Maybe foods that give you energy, or what actions make that muscle work and contract, right? Maybe I want to give them some information about how long does it take to kind of build muscle, right? So they have some reasonable expectations. They're not going to go out overnight. So what is the knowledge on that topic? What kind of information do you need to deliver? And then the doing part, right? We want them to actually do something. And even if you're doing something more, let's say, knowledge-based, I always like to have something more action-oriented to help people engage in the content, so they're not just sitting and passively listening. So the doing part could be, you teach them something and you say, now go out and do this activity, do this exercise, go out and go shopping and buy the kind of food that is beneficial, use this checklist and check off, go to your cabinet and check things off that are healthy or not healthy. So what I advise you to do to make the online program more meaningful and more engaging is to always think about, for every lesson, to give something actionable for your clients to do. And then the other part is the emotions, the feelings, the thoughts that go around it. So a lot of times that will be your motivational aspects of it. So again, know, do, and feel. So have that clear. And then the next thing, this is what I would do. I would go to artificial intelligence. I would go to ChatGPT or whatever tool or platform you want to use. And what I would do is I would get an outline of my 4 lessons and what it is that I want to cover. And I would help use ChatGPT. I'm having trouble there. I would use AI to help me generate it. Now, here is the secret, if you're going to use artificial intelligence to help you, is it's all in how you prompt it and ask the question so you get useful information. So this is what I do. I have a little formula: is format, audience, topic, and purpose. So what I would do is I would use AI and I would say, what is the format? And I'm going to say, I want to create maybe a 15-minute long instructional video. So the format is video, and the length, format. Who is the audience? So I would tell AI, my audience is mothers who are trying to get fit. My audience is high school athletes, right? Whoever your audience, the more detailed, the better. So the topic, and so you can use AI to help with some general topics, but again, think about what you want your client to know, what you want them to be able to do, and what you want them to be able to believe or be motivated for. So I would go in and I would use AI and I would say my topic would be to educate them, on foods that are healthy and give energy. Or the topic might be 3 different exercises that are going to strengthen the tricep. Or the topic might be, what are the biggest motivational barriers for people to get fit? Okay. So I would go into AI, the format, the audience, the topic, and then the purpose. So I would map out kind of like my outline for those video lessons. And like I said, I love doing brainstorming sessions and using AI to help me brainstorm. But again, be specific and give AI as much information as you can about what you're teaching, the topic, the purpose, right? Who your audience is, and use that to generate ideas. I would not use it for straight scripting. It's not going to be as authentic. It's not going to sound like it's coming from you. But for brainstorming ideas, I love, love, love to use AI. So the third step that I would do to create my online program is I would create some kind of personalized one-on-one support. Especially if you're just starting out, you have time, you can offer it. I don't like to offer online programs where people have no contact with me, whether it's group calls, one-on-one, pre-recorded, especially if you want people to do programs and stay with you or sign up for the next level. You really need some kind of personal connection with them. Like I said, it could be group calls, it could be one-on-one. Also, a lot of times to get results, it's not a matter of just giving them the facts, right? And here's the information. It's getting them to follow through and that accountability. So I would create a one-on-one option or just make that a part of your online program. So let me give you some tips because again, it doesn't have to be super complicated in order to do that. So what do you do during your one-on-one sessions? The first thing that I would recommend you do is to have a detailed questionnaire and get as much information about your client as possible. So you want to know, what are they doing now? What are their goals? What are their concerns? What are they doing well, right? And that's going to give you a lot of guidance when you actually meet with them. Okay, so do a really detailed survey, questionnaire, and get as much information ahead of time. Then what I like to do when I first meet with them is I do an overview. So I'll touch base on the questionnaire. If I've already met with them once or twice, I'll say, hey, how are things going right now? What's been going on? What's going well? Where are you struggling? And then even if I have an agenda and I have things very specific and outlined for our one-on-one session, I always like to start with, okay, is there anything specific that you want to make sure we cover today? Do you have any questions you want to make sure that I answer? And almost always they provide some kind of information for me. And I recommend always doing that and doing that at the beginning, because I know I've been guilty of having a plan in place and just going through and teaching and going off with my lesson. And then there's something major, something that I could have really, really helped them with, or a challenge or something they were struggling with that I didn't even know about. Then what I would do, if you had already created some content, so let's say you pre-recorded some videos, if you have them watch and have some kind of activity that you do ahead of time, when they meet with you one-on-one, that's a perfect way to have a jumping off point for your conversation. So you can give more information, you can elaborate, you can clarify, you can ask questions based on the content and the topics that were in the video that you had already given them. Let's say we're giving exercises and I'm helping them with exercises. If they can pre-record some content, some questions, something that they want feedback on, if they can get that to me ahead of time, that can help me in preparing for our one-on-one session. So if they don't send anything over to you, like I said, you can look at what you already pre-recorded, you can expand, you can elaborate, and then also you can provide additional resources for them. And this is where a lot of people get kind of stuck, is they feel like they have to go out and have a whole bunch of videos, a whole bunch of resources, have handouts or articles already created. When you're just starting out, there's no reason why you can't access things that are already out there freely available. If there's some useful articles, if there's some freely available videos already on YouTube, I make use of those. As just make sure that they're freely available and you don't ever want to make it look like it's coming across as yours, right? I always give credit and give links and say, oh, here's a video that you might want to follow. There is a benefit to basically consolidating and pulling together those resources for your client. So if you have additional resources that you want to provide them, additional videos, again, if you're just starting out, you don't have to have all of that already created for them. For my online canine fitness program, what I do, there's all kinds of great fitness videos already on YouTube. And some of them are from colleagues, people who I like, people who I respect. And I basically create a YouTube playlist of some of my clients' videos, some of my videos, other videos that are available out there freely. And I use those playlists as resources for my clients. And I've never gotten any kind of complaint. They love that those resources are there. I did all the searching and hunting. I gathered it and created that library for them. I saved them a bunch of time. So when you're meeting with them one-on-one, if there's something you're wanting to share with them, and let's say you want to go over some exercises and you did not go out and record the exercise yourself or you didn't have time, there are tons of available free resources out there. Again, just be aware of copyright. Make sure that if you're using somebody else's video, you're linking to a public video, you're acknowledging, hey, this isn't my video, I'm sending you over to somebody else's. Or if you're gathering online articles, again, just make sure these are things that are already freely available and you're not breaking any kind of copyright rules. And then what I always do at the end of my one-on-one coaching sessions is I always leave with actionable steps. I find that a lot of times clients get overwhelmed. They don't know where to focus their energy. They don't know what to prioritize. And sometimes just simply meeting with you so that you can prioritize and say, okay, for this next week or the next 2 weeks, here's what we're going to focus on. And here is the order. Here's the most important thing that I want you to focus on first. Here's the second and here's the third. And don't make the list too big, but At the end of your coaching session, make it really, really clear on what the next steps are. Don't overwhelm them, and also involve them in the process. So sometimes what will happen is I'll have a series of things that I know I want them to work on or to follow up with, but I will turn to them also to get feedback on helping to prioritize it. Sometimes it's very clear what the priorities are, and sometimes I'll say, here are 5 things we want to work on. Of course, we probably won't get to all of them in the next week. What is the most important thing for you? And together we look at our actionable next steps. I write it down and I take notes for them to help prioritize step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's what's next. Keep it very manageable, very doable, and help them prioritize. That right there can be invaluable. And finally, let me share a couple tips when you're managing the workload. So when you're meeting one-on-one, it doesn't have to be like a whole hour session. You might do a 30-minute session. You might do a 15-minute session. There's value in just doing a quick touching in, a quick accountability, how are things going, and leave it at that. Normally, my one-on-one sessions are 60 minutes. I do have one program where they get 2 hours of coaching, and we collaborate together and we decide what's going to work best for them. Do they want to break them into smaller 30-minute sections, or do we want to do 2 one-hour sessions? I give them the option. Today, I met with somebody and it was 15 minutes. So be flexible and don't feel like you have to, fit into this certain box. Work with your client. Maybe you have a certain number of hours of one-on-one and you talk with them. And it might be that you want to touch in more frequently, shorter sessions, or maybe 1 hour a week, every 2 weeks. But I do really think there's high value. I know that personal connection for accountability, if you can have some kind of that personalized support, will be super, super valuable. And then here's one more secret, one more tip when you're creating that online content for your videos. If you're doing video instruction, give yourself some wiggle room for creating it. What I like to do is I will tell them I'm going to send them content every other week. So that way I will have a week to prepare and get things ready, and I have a little bit of flexibility. I don't have to be cranking out and producing something every single week. So if you give them something actionable, something to work on, something to follow through with, what I like to do is to give them an online lesson, give them like homework, give them something to work on the next week, touch in with me, and then the next week after that, I release the next new set of content. So there's nothing wrong with releasing content when you're very first creating it and just dripping it out to them once a week, once every 2 weeks, or you can even have a little bit more of a cushion room, as long as it's clear to them what are they doing during that in-between session. And then finally, once you have your online content recorded, let's say you start getting in a couple different clients, there's a lot of things that you can do now for your next step. What I did was I used those online recordings and that content for those individual sessions that eventually became the foundations for a larger online course that was all pre-recorded as my Foundations Fitness course. So when you're creating that content, if you don't necessarily speak directly to the person, do it more as speaking to a general audience, you can use that same content to then become the foundations of a larger program, all pre-recorded. It also could be content that you created specific for that client, but then you have the structure and the content you can easily re-record to create an online program. So what I did, I started out on YouTube, but those videos became the Foundation Fitness course that I then eventually moved to an online platform where they would log in, kind of your traditional online course model. But I started simply with those 4 YouTube videos. So again, the steps are: start with something small and manageable. Pick one problem that you're going to help solve. The second one is to create short, manageable, pre-recorded trainings. Like I said, I did four short trainings. Use AI to help in developing the outline. Remember, the format, audience, topic, and purpose are great information bits to put into AI to help generate that for you. And then the third is creating some kind of opportunity for them to connect with you for some one-on-one support. And again, it could simply be 10, 15-minute check-in period of time periodically to hold them accountable. So there you go, a quick and easy way to get your first online fitness or wellness program going. And if you want to know more about how to take this type of a program, but then expand it so that you have high-end VIP options, a mid-tier option for pricing, and kind of an entry point. So basically taking an online program and having different tiers and different levels of pricing. I will put that video next. I'll also put it down below in the description for you so you can watch that for selling, creating and selling high-end VIP programs. Thanks so much for watching or listening. And if you're trying to get your online programs growing, and if you're looking at either starting a program online or making your online programs that already exist better, let me know where you're struggling. Let me know what kind of questions you have, because I'm always looking for new ideas and new topics for my future videos and trainings. So I look forward to hearing from you, and thank you so much for joining me today.